Hey, Flosstube. This is Rachel, the Pacific Coast Stitcher, back for Flosstube episode number 10. It is great to be back here with you. It's only been a week since my last recording, so I'm excited to jump on and share with you all things retreat and just some current finishes, whips, all the good stitchy stuff that we bring to our Flosstubes. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending a little time with me. I invite you just to sit back, relax, and enjoy some stitching. So today I thought I would start with the Pacific Stitching Retreat. As you can see, I'm wearing the shirt that I purchased at the retreat. I thought I would go through and run through all my fun goodies from the retreat and takeaways, and then we would go into just the traditional floss tube format of previous finishes, FFOs, finishes, whips, new starts, all that good stuff. And at the end of the video, I will have a giveaway as well. I put it somewhere. Yes. Okay. So the Pacific Stitching Retreat was put on by Val at Live and Die LA. Her and her husband were there all weekend and coordinated the whole retreat, also set up a vendor booth so we were able to do some shopping of her amazing fabrics and flosses, and just really was on hand to make sure that everything ran smoothly. And it was, again, it was my first retreat, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but it was so seamless. And I used to, in my former careers, I used to plan events, so I know what it takes to coordinate from beginning to end, seeing an event all the way through. And everything from my end as an attendee was absolutely seamless. And it was just a blast. It was fun. I stayed at the hotel that the retreat was held at. So it was in Garden Grove at the Embassy Suites there, which is really close to Anaheim and Disneyland. So there were a lot of Disneyland visitors in our hotel. The dates were February 27th through March 2nd. So I'm just going to talk you through and show you just the fun things. So I got there. The retreat started at noon on a Thursday. First lesson learned, don't show up late to a retreat. I flew in. I was supposed to fly in that morning, but ended up pushing my flight back a little later. Didn't end up checking in until about 4 o'clock. And I walked in, everybody was already seated at the table stitching. We stitchers don't mess around. Like, give us a time, we're there, we're ready to go. So next time I will not show up late to a retreat. I also went, thankfully, when I was checking in, a gal who I know now is Holly said, "Oh, we have an extra seat at our table. Feel free to come sit with us," which is great because I'm assuming everyone arrives on time to pick their tables. So that took a lot of stress off of me in that moment. So when I arrived and checked in, we were all given this beautiful hand-dyed Pacific Stitching bag, which the shirts match the bag. So this is a beautiful tote. I use totes for everything when I go to the gym, when I'm school teaching. Like, you can never have enough of these totes around. And then inside, part of the retreat, we were given a custom unique a custom pattern from Ink Circles, special for the retreat, called the Pacific Stitching 2025. And we were given fabric with the purchase of the retreat. Live and Die hand-dyed fabric made especially for the retreat, Sunset over California. So this is a beautiful blue. It is Lugana, and I got it in 32 count Lugana. And we were given also, so we could stitch the pattern, the whole kit and caboodle, the floss by Live and Die LA as well. So I was thoroughly impressed how many of you at the retreat, I think there were close to 200 attendees, actually stitched and finished this pattern while we were there. Yes, it was absolutely doable to do in the couple days. I just didn't even think about possibly stitching the pattern that was given to us at the retreat. So it was really fun. And some of the other attendees, they personalized it, made it their own, put their initials on it, had different size fabric and linen versus Lugana. Some had I mean, it was just all different varieties. So that was really neat to see people stitching the pattern that was gifted to us specifically for the retreat. So that was in the bag. And then also this needle minder matching the whole theme, Pacific Stitching 2025, matching the front of the bag, matching my shirt. So it was all very coordinated and cute and just and super fun. There were about eight people at each table. I want to give a little shout out to my table. We were table 11, and it was so, I went to this retreat by myself, and I'm just out there to tell you, if you ever get an opportunity to go to a retreat, absolutely take advantage of it. I went by myself. It That could be very intimidating, but honestly, our community is so warm and welcoming that you're instant friends with your table mates. And what's great is Val really encouraged us ahead of time that if you see someone sitting at a table and they're by themselves, like everyone else is off at lunch, or you just need to go up and talk to them. It's a phenomenal opportunity just to get to meet new people in our community. And I absolutely took advantage of the stitching time, but also the time to put myself out there and make new friends. And that is exactly what happened. So at my table, we had Tina, Holly, Tanya, Dawn, Carrie. Then I'm going around the table. And then there was myself, and then Kathy and Lindsay. And it was such a great group that we had. As far as, like, zooming out, the big retreat included we had a brag table and just there was so much eye candy, and I think that the retreat got me really revived. I mean, I'm already pumped up about stitching, but to see all the different projects that we see on Flosstube or on the different cross-stitching websites and designers, to see people actually stitching these and seeing them in person, the talent that is in that room was just so phenomenal. From full coverage, I mean, to see, I'd never seen a full coverage piece in person. From full coverage to smalls to linen to Ada to, overdye. I mean, it was just, my mouth dropped quite a few times while I was going around to the tables and looking at the projects that people were working on and asking questions. So there was a brag table. There also, at the brag table, we had a bell. So if you had a finish during the retreat, you could ring the bell. I believe from our table, Lindsay and Tanya had finishes that weekend. So they were able to go up and ring the bell, which is so fun. Everybody cheers. There was also a freebie giveaway table. So if you brought patterns that you wanted to pass the stash or give away, that was fun to kind of dig through and see what other goodies other people were giving away. There was also a smalls exchange, and that is one thing I will never go to a retreat again and not participate in the smalls exchange. It was super, just really fun. I feel like whoever made the small and the person that received it, like there was an instant bond there. And once they introduced each other, they were taking pictures, and it was just really fun. It was just another way to get connected. We also, during the retreat, had games. We played LCR with Floss and as well as the frog game. We There were prizes. There were prizes throughout the day at different times. So that was also fun. I think Tina from our table won prizes. And then there were a couple of vendors there. And it was just all seamless and beautiful and very relaxed. I was nervous it would be too loud. It was not loud. It was just absolutely wonderful. So just a couple goodies. I'm going to show a couple goodies that I got, and then I'm going to give a couple shout outs and share a couple things, and then we'll move on to everything else. What I'm going to say is I'm not going to go super in depth on the retreat. My new friend, Dottie, at Stitching Scotty on Flosstube as well as Instagram, she filmed right after the retreat, and she did a beautiful job. Like, my recap is not going to be anything compared to hers. She just did a really great job. She inserted pictures and just really explains things well. And so if you want to learn more about the Pacific Stitching Retreat, check out Stitching Scotty's Flosstube on that. So there were another pattern that we were gifted throughout the retreat was ink circles. This was St. David's Dragon. We got an early release of it. And St. David's Day is the feast day of St. David, and he's the patron saint of Wales. So it was the March 1st of every year, and this is when we were at the retreat. So we got that pattern as well. And then I didn't pull everything, all the little gifts I got from my table mates. They were so unbelievably generous. Everybody at the retreat is just so generous. And so that is very overwhelming in and of itself. And I'm so grateful for all the gifts that I got, all of the people that came up and said hi. A couple of the attendees recognized me from Flosstube, and that was just a blast getting to chat with some of you that are so kind to watch my videos. So one of our gifts, this was made by my table mate, Carrie. It was for your mug. I had a big jug of water, a mug of water that I carried. And so it was just a coaster and it absolutely cute. She made these herself, perfect color for spring. Pam, who watches my floss tube as well, gave me a little needle minder, the little flower here. Pam is Casey's Beach on Instagram. Wonderful to meet Pam. Pam gave me the tip. We were both on the 11th floor instead of taking the elevator to take the stairs up and down to our room as we needed to. So Pam, hope you're still getting your steps in and thank you for that tip. Also, Tina from our table gifted us all a skein of Fiberlicious floss. And this one's called Shades of Purple. It's a hand-dyed floss, 10 yards, beautiful. It matches my shirt with the purple. And so Tina, thank you. Kathy, who I sat next to. Hi, Kathy. I know you watch my floss too. This cute little bling charm. And then where's the snag now? But Holly, when I first got there, gave everyone at our table a snag nabbit. So you can pull it through, like if a thread gets stuck or there's a fuzz, you just pull it through and it will bring that like tiny little thread at the end all the way through. That is called a snag nabbit. I hadn't used one before and I use it all the time now. And then Tanya gave us some great goodies, some little Easter mugs but she also gave me this little jar. You can put your used needles in here. These great little scissors, which are perfect for travel. And this little eyelash to get up if you have to rip out. You can swipe it across your fabric and it will pull up the loose thread or the fuzzies that are there. She also gave us a little magnetic holder for your little orts and things. And then hang on, I don't want to lose this snag nabbit. And then there were so many more just fun little gifty things. I just thought I would share a few with you. So thank you so much. Everybody was so generous and it was a lot of fun. So a couple shout outs. I have one more piece of haul that I want to share with you. And I had a really big fangirl moment. And when I finally made it to table 11 and sat down, I just kind of looked at the table across from me and I recognized a voice and I looked over and I was looking and sure enough, it was Contented Needleworker Kim. So I had the honor of meeting Kim and I have been watching her floss tube for years. And she is just as sweet and kind in person as she is on her floss tubes. And it was truly just such an honor to meet her. And we were able to, a couple times throughout the retreat, be able to just chat a little bit more than just a quick hi with each other. So hi to Kim. I appreciated your conversation and now your friendship. And I'm going to be looping back. I'm going to mention you a little bit later too. But Contented Needleworker Kim just gave me this little beautiful piece of bling here that I will make and either I will add it to a bag as a charm or I will do something fun with it. But very sweet. So Kim, thank you. Just a couple other shout outs to some viewers on our floss tube. Debbie, she watches and I got to meet her. Her and I are actually going to stitch a Blackbird design project together, and I'll tell you more about that later. Esther, I don't know if you're on Instagram, but it was so great to talk to you and to get to know you. And if you have an Instagram, can you just shoot me an email because I would love to connect with you on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. Diane Owen, so lovely to meet you, learn more about you. And Diane actually, she was stitching on something that I fell in love with and I had to have it. And I will show you my start on that in just a little bit. I mentioned Pam Bowers. I mentioned Dottie, Kathy that sat next to me. I mean, I could just go on, but it was so wonderful to have the experience of my first retreat. It's in the books. My second one is coming up very, very quickly. And I will tell you, it's in April 3rd. So that's like less than a month away. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we get there. But thank you for listening to my recap. It was just absolutely wonderful to make new friends and to participate in the community in such a bigger way. So let's go through to previous finishes. Today, I'm just going to run through previous finishes. This first one here, gosh, friends, I believe it is called Hip Hop by Stitching with the Housewives, but I couldn't find the pattern on their Etsy shop. I stitched it a couple years ago, and mom FFO'd this one for me. She made the bow, she did all the backing, but Hip Hop by Stitching with the Housewife, it's just on this metal little stand. And I have it hung on with magnets so I can swap out as needed. I think my intention when I stitched this one is I was going to stitch more of the jars, but I haven't done that yet. So at some point, I will use that finishing piece as well. Over in the corner here, sorry, I'm being delicate with these because they're on with magnets. I will put in the show notes who the designer of this pattern is. I know it's Happy Easter. This is one of my I would say this is one of my first 10 cross stitches that I ever did. It's very delicate and it's stitched on 14 count Aida. Again, this is one that mom finished for me. And actually, I have a picture. You can see she threaded the back on that one. I have a picture that we will insert of when we stitched and finished when these were FFO'd. It was during COVID. I was at my parents' house. And so I have a picture of my mom and she stitched and did the same finish for her. And then you guys saw my mom showed this last week, but I'm showing you mine. This is Crunch by Stitching with the Housewives. And again, this is still when she was doing my finishing for me. So I got to fluff up that bow a little bit. But 14 count, is this black? I think it's chalkboard black Aida. So that's nice that I have a couple of previous finishes, like fully finished objects to be able to put up right away for the Easter season. Let me now go into, those are the previous finishes I wanted to show you. I do have others, but I'm going to kind of try to spread it out over the spring Easter season of Flosstube. So I have one, two, three. I have 4 FFOs that I just yesterday finished. So I want to share those with you. They are all stitches that I have done in the past. So they're not anything newly. Actually, yes, this one is newly stitched. Let's do this one first. And I know you've seen the stitching. It's Oh Hello Spring by Stitching with the Housewives. I stitched this on 40. Wow, we really went a jump there. I stitched this on 14 count black Aida and completely inspired. The finish is exactly like Priscilla's with the backing board. I used the round pre-cut sticky boards from Fat Quarter Shop. And my backing piece is from Hobby Lobby. The crocheted flowers are from Hobby Lobby. I'm stitching with the Housewives stripes with Chantel's 141 bow tutorial. So, Oh Hello Spring. I love it. It is so cute. The colors are great for spring. And I feel like spring Easter. Hang on one second. Let me just fix this. Spring Easter, I can leave that up. If I haven't mentioned this before, Easter is my second favorite holiday. My first one is Thanksgiving. So I do have quite a few Easter spring stitches. It's just one of my favorite times of year. So I'm not going to be shy about it. I do have a lot of like bunny Easter stitches. So even though, there's so much more meaning to Easter than bunnies, but they do complement the holiday as well. So the next one that I have for you is FFO'd in a tobacco basket. This is Bloom by Stitching with the Housewives. And this is stitched on 14 count black Aida, backed with buffalo check and stripes. I'm not sold on the bow. The bow I might make a little bit bigger. I'm trying to do a flat bow with the side. So the bow I'll figure out, but that's just kind of what I had for now. But yeah, Stitching with the Housewives, Bloom. And then the next one that I have to show is, let's do this one. I absolutely loved this stitch. Actually, I'll hold it up first. This is Penelope and Peep by Stitching with the Housewives. It was a lot of stitching, but I loved every single stitch of her and all of the colors. I want to say I stitched this on fabric that my mom and I, 28 Monaco, that mom and I coffee tea dyed. But it's been so long. It's been about 3 years since I stitched Penelope. And she is just the cutest. And I may add a bow to her as well. I haven't decided yet. Again, you guys know I like to go the less route with my FFOing. So this is Sweet Penelope and Peep. Normally, I leave the little chicks off, but I feel like it was very complimentary on this pattern. So I just backed it with some yellow check. The finishing piece was green from Hobby Lobby, and I painted it white with just acrylic paint. And there she is in all her glory. So I do absolutely love this stitch. And I have had the stitch finished again for like 3 years. And I'm so excited to be able to put her out and enjoy her this year. The next one that I have is by Brenda Gervais. This one is called Just Peep. The last one was Penelope and Peep with Stitching with the Housewives. This is by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, Peep. And it's just, this again is one of my very first like top 10 stitches that I ever did. And I love the little bunny myth. This back piece, I didn't do anything to it. It had some saying on it, and that blue that you're seeing kind of peek through was splashed across it. All I did was put the stitch piece on a sticky board and hot glued it down. I thought the blue was complimentary, and I love this finish. And I love this stitch. And this is on, it looks like it's a 14 count as well. And then this also too was like one of my very first 10 cross stitches. Maybe you've seen all 10 of them today. But this one, I absolutely fell in love with the colors, and it's the only one. It's a series of 4. It is Seasonal Celebration by Cottage Needleworks, and they have one for each season, and this one is spring. And this is on a 14 count cloth. I don't remember the color. I want to say maybe it's a fabric flare, but the blues, the pinks, the greens, I finished it with almost like a pinky reddish check in the background with some rickrack, but absolutely adorable. Again, I'm not sure if I'd put a bow on here or not. I asked my friend Cindy, hi Cindy, if I should put a bow on. She said yes. So we will see if I end up doing that or not. If I do, I didn't What I'm saying, if I'm putting a bow on or not, I just didn't have anything in my stash of things to make a bow that would look good. So if I can find something that will look good, then I will add it. So I think that's it for my current FFOs. And yes, I did finish all of those yesterday. I still have all my crafts out. There's a couple more spring Easter stitches that I have done that I absolutely love that just need to be FFO'd. So I will show them to you next time. So there will definitely be more FFOs next time. Okay, so at the retreat, I actually was able to get a lot of stitching in. I'm a serious stitcher. So the stitching room was open from 8 a.m., I think until 10 p.m. And I was so grateful when I walked down at 8 a.m. that I was not the only one in the room that was ready to stitch. Pam, my friend that likes to climb up the stairs to get her steps in, she was there in the morning as well. And so there were a handful of stitchers there stitching in the morning. So my table mates didn't show up until like 10 or a little bit later. So I was able to have some time at the table by myself to get some stitching in. And it also gave me an opportunity to really chat with the vendors that were there, as well as some of the other early morning stitchers. It was a lot for me to stay up till 10. I think the last night I stayed in the room till about 9, which is I'm usually in bed 8 o'clock, so I'm asleep by 8:30 or 9. And I didn't sleep much that weekend. My adrenaline was going, and that was a surprise. I wasn't prepared to just be so excited, and I didn't wanna miss anything that was happening. I didn't wanna miss any opportunity to stitch or have a conversation or purchase a piece of fabric or see someone, ring the bell for a finish. It was I completely immersed myself, and I highly recommend if the retreat that you are going to is at a hotel it's worth staying there. It really truly is because you can just roll up to your room as you need to throughout the day. Like some people would pop up and take a nap. You could go to the gym. I mean, it made it really convenient and easy. So the stitching that I got done there, I was able to stitched quite a bit. So I'm showing you things that I stitched at the retreat because I wasn't able to take this all to my mom's, as well as things that I worked on this week. So I did get some stitching in on this is Emily Cole. I think it's Happy Heart Snowman. And I was able to finish her. And we all know how much I love her. She is so cute with her little hearts and her rosy cheeks. She is stitched on 32 count sand by Picture This Plus. And I stitched her 2 over 2, 2 threads over 2 fabric. Yeah, 2 threads over 2 fabric holes. Yes. So I'm going to make this into a little pillow. So that is that finish. I was also able to finish. This is by Primrose Cottage. It is their March monthly mini. So I started this at the retreat and then finished it on my way home or when I got home. Able to finish this monthly mini. There's still a couple, like I didn't do February's and I still think I have January's to do. So just working my way through those. This week, I was able to put my final stitches in the Free Stitch Friday and was able to get a finish on March's Free Stitch Friday from Primrose Cottage. I stitched my clover hearts, or excuse me, the clover flower at the diagonal, and I love the variegation. You can even see with these 3, I just stitched them straight up, one cross at a time, but stitched all the way through, and you still get great variegation. But I was so glad Lindsay of Primrose Cottage pointed out that her model stitcher stitched diagonally to get that variegation. I think that's really fun. So those are my current finishes. And I have quite a few whips and new starts. Not quite a few. We'll just go through here. I'm going to try to do whips first and leave the new starts till after that. So my current whip, you guys did see this last week and I did make progress on it. It is the St. Patrick's Day Quaker by Primrose Cottage. I think last week I was up over in here and then I was able to come down in here. I'm stitching on 25 count potato with the called for color and cotton floss. If you can see the pot of gold, this was the goodie that came along with the free stitch Friday with this one, the St. Patrick's Day. I just moved it over to my Quaker so I could enjoy stitching on it. This one's stitched with Cottage Garden threads, and I love them. I love the color and cotton threads, and I love the Cottage Garden threads. My next whip, let me pull up the picture, is an Emily Call pattern. I made a little progress on this since you saw it last week. He is Risen by Emily Call. I've seen 2 or 3 finishes of this pattern on Instagram this week, which really gave me the motivation, or is giving me the motivation to finish it. It's a little more tedious of a stitch than I thought it would be, and I think it's just the color changes. I'm also super distracted by other things right now. But this is my progress on He is Risen. I was able to get this flower in and then the leaf over here. And I'm stitching this on 28 or 32 count antique white. What is the pattern call for? 36. Yes, this is definitely a 32 or 28. I guess. But I'm using the called for DMC, and it's so beautiful when it's stitched up. So I'm excited to get there with that. My other whip, honestly, friends, I maybe put 1 stitch in, but I'll still show her to you. She is, now that you've seen some of my stitching from years previous, I'm sure it makes this falls completely in line with my style for Easter and spring. This is Daisy May. I love that she is a dark colored bunny. Daisy May by Stitching with the Housewives. Again, this is 28 count Monaco fabric that my mom and I dyed together. So this is little Daisy May. I'll hold it up here. So I think I got 1 stitch in Daisy May just so I was able to at least show it to you guys. So I would like to get some progress on her. And then my next 3 are new starts that you guys have not seen yet. So my first one here is by Heartstring Samplery, or can't show the pattern. The Old Rugged Cross. This is my first time stitching Heartstring Samplery. This is part of her Sunday Stitches, a collection of hymns to stitch. And the Old Rugged Cross is a hymn that was written in 1912. I am stitching this on 32 count, picture this plus sand. And it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Here are the gorgeous colors. Let me get those in there. I had to start this and I wanted to at least get one of the flowers in just so I could see the colors. They're very rich and vibrant. I'm using the called for weeks, 1 sampler, 1 gentle art, and 1 classic color work. So just gorgeous. So that is a new start. And I look forward to making more progress on that. Now, this next one, I don't have an actual pattern to show you. This is the one that my friend Diane Owen is stitching, or was stitching at the Pacific Stitching Retreat. And I was walking around just seeing what people were working on, and I noticed the colors. And I'm like, what are you stitching? Because the colors kind of gave away what the pattern was. So let me just show you if you can see these colors. So we have a pink, a green, and a black. And she told me where I could find the pattern. It's by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And on there, she has a Facebook group. And on that Facebook group, when the movie was released of Wicked, she released this pattern. So let me show you my start on it, and we need to talk about it. We need to have a conversation about it. So it says Wicked, and then there's a green broom down here. There wasn't a cover photo, so I couldn't I can't show you a picture of it, but that is where it is by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I am very nervous that I cut my fabric too short and lengthwise, horizontally. And the broom does sweep through all the letters at the bottom, almost like it underlines it. I'm tempted to stop stitching here to outline the broom and see if I have enough room, because I'm nervous that I didn't stitch it over to the side. My start is too far over, and I just cut the fabric too small. And you might have seen on some of my other pieces, I tend to not give myself a lot of room, and all it's gonna take is one time where I didn't give myself enough room, and I'm sure I will never make that mistake again, and I will over correct for it, but I am nervous about this. So I actually started this probably right when I got home from the retreat, but I'm nervous. I haven't picked it back up because I'm nervous there's not enough room. So I think I should, what do you guys think? Just outline the broom, because that will should be able to tell me the length of it and if I'll have enough room or not, or do I just like let it go and just start over? I don't think it's worth, like, believe it or not, that's a ton of stitching. So let me know your thoughts if you have any. I would be curious about that. But I love musicals. And John and I actually did a trip to New York City last year and got to both have our first experience of seeing a handful of musicals on Broadway. I've seen traveling shows before many, many times. And I grew up going to San Francisco when I lived in the Bay Area and saw Phantom of the Opera and a couple other ones. So, but I love musicals and enjoy them. And so obviously I loved the movie. So when I saw Diane stitching that, I absolutely needed it. This one here, you all know her. You're all familiar with her. You probably are all stitching your own Little Miss Maggie May. So I have a start, and this is where I need to give a shout out to Contented Needleworker Kim, because I think, believe it or not, this week, like, it's a big moment. So it was a big moment this week. I think my stitching is going to be making a big change. I decided to stitch Maggie May on 36 count. I am stitching her on a 36 count. I just forgot which fabric it was. I want to say Wren, but it's not Wren. I'll put it in the show notes. I will also tell you next time I'm with you. But I'm stitching Maggie May 1/2 on 36 count. And I had a conversation with Contented Needleworker Kim at the retreat, kind of just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it. And, I know I go one strand, I'm not going to want to go back to two strands. And I actually, with my readers, and I had no problem seeing and was able to just stitch pretty smoothly like I do on my 32 count. This is Winter's Brew. Or is it Brenda's Brew? It's one of the two. I'll confirm for you in the show notes. But this is my start on Sweet Maggie May. Originally, I was going to use my friend Tammy at Leopard and Lace Co. XOXO's conversion, and I may still pull some from her conversion, but so far what I've stitched for is with the called for threads. I have multiple options pulled for as I work through Maggie May for her sweater and her dress. But these right here are the called for. I am really, well, one, I love her. She's adorable. I can't wait to get her little nose in. And she's so cute. So this is by Stacey Nash, an animal cracker. It's Maggie May if you are not familiar. But I am thinking I might do my sweater in red pear and her shoes in red pear. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just going to kind of decide as I go in the moment. I would like Maggie to be my focus just because I did order from Stitching with the Housewives Beatrice. She's a bunny as well. And I know as soon as she gets here, I'm going to want to start her. And she's a bigger piece. So I want to try to get little Miss Maggie done. So those are my current new starts, whips, all of the things. Thank you so much for hanging through with all of that stitching for me. I felt like there was a lot because I know I filmed last week, but I wasn't able to give you all the stitching that I got done at the retreat. And I actually got, not all of that was the retreat, but I had to go back and show you stitching from way back then from the retreat. So let's go through haul. I just have a little bit of haul. I'll show you the haul I got at the retreat. So I made some purchases with Live and Die LA. And I think just the easiest way to show this is I'm just going to lay. So I got some fabrics and so this is my first experience with Live and Die LA fabrics, and they're absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. So I had to get some of the opals. I got 2 opals. I got Midnight Sky, 32 count Lagana, and I got a 32 count Cafe au Lait. And this also has a little sparkle in it. I thought this would be great for Christmas stitching. This would be great for Halloween stitching. Just like beautiful fabric and beautiful modeling, all of it just absolutely gorgeous. It was so fun to be able to touch and feel and see. It just makes purchasing so much more different than just kind of ordering a little bit blindly online. And then this here, London Fog and a 32 count Lugana. See, I'm like, should I have bought 30s? Then it's gonna be a problem. What am I gonna, if I'm switching out to 30s, we'll just kind of see. I don't want to think about the fabric stash that I have and that I might be stitching on 36 here in the future. And then I just got a piece of latte. I got this one in 32 linen. And then I picked up a couple of their hand-dyed flosses to try just because I have not had exposure to those before. So this one is a 2025 retreat exclusive called Hazy Day. The middle one here is Winter Berries, and the pink is Chock Cherry. So beautiful. And then I also picked up this very cute needle minder. We are the granddaughters of the witches who could not burn for my Halloween stitching. And then just a couple other things. I did little shout out to my friend Debbie, who's Glitter Dove Fairy on Instagram. We decided at the retreat that we were going to kit up and start. We haven't decided when we're going to start it yet, but we both love Halloween stitching, and we were just kind of talking and decided that we wanted to go ahead and put a start on Midnight Watch by Blackbird Designs. So I picked up the pattern. I picked up the called for floss. I just need to decide what fabric to use. And then Debbie, I'm going to loop back with you and we can pick a time that we want to start this and get going on it. I do know already I'm going to leave the alphabet off and I will just bring the bottom border up like under here, under the house. So really, really excited. I originally thought I would stitch it on 32 count, but I'm going to stitch it on 36 count now. So that is super fun. 2 things that came in quickly from Market. I did get the kit from Fat Quarter Shop of Robin Pickens, Queen Bee. So it comes with a 14 count Ada. It comes with the called for Cosmo floss and the pattern. And it also comes with a needle. So I will be stitching Queen Bee. And then I did pick up, again, I got it in 32 count Lugana Pomegranate Fabrics by Steph. This is for the hands-on design. the animal is escaping my mind. The ladybug, yes. And so I just thought I would have this to have it. So now I have a whole piece of it and I'm very excited about it. I don't know if I'm actually going to stitch that pattern or not, but the fabric is just so beautiful that I felt like it was necessary to have the fabric. So that's kind of all of my haul. Are you guys still sticking with me? I know this has been a little bit longer of a video, so thank you so much for hanging in there. Plans, I'm just going to kind of work on where we're going here. I imagine market things will start coming in, and once those come in, I will work on figuring out what I want to start first. I will be participating in Lindy Stitch's online retreat of the Nash Stash Startathon at the end of the month, at the last weekend of March. So I plan to participate in that. I've already got my ticket for it, and I'm excited to get some starts on some of those Nashville patterns. Retreats that are coming up. I heard rumor when I was at the Pacific Stitching Retreat of a retreat here in Las Vegas called Stitchapalooza. And I reached out to Jessica, the owner of Silver State Stitch Shop, and sent her a message asking if I could get on the wait list. And not knowing, I don't even know when it was. Actually, I really don't even know that many details of the retreat. When I got back, or when I heard that this was in Vegas, I'm like, gosh, it's kind of a no-brainer. I need to make it. I'd love to go to that one. So I reached out to Jessica, and sure enough, there was a cancellation. So she was able to get me in. So I will be attending Stitchapalooza 2025. It is April 3rd through 5th in Boulder City here in Nevada, which is about 40 minutes from where I am. And it's going to be at the Silver State Stitch Shop. And if you haven't heard, they are moving locations in the same city, but they're just got a building that has some history with Jessica. And I think she took one of her first sewing or crafting classes in that space, and just a really neat story. So I'm super excited to visit and get to know Jessica. Jessica sent me an email and asked if I would potentially want to do a collaboration with her and the Silver State Stitch Shop. And I said 100%, yes, I'm in. Let's do it. So I imagine you guys will be getting more details about what's going to be in the works as far as that goes. But I'm just super excited to get to be more involved and get to know some of you on a deeper level. And so that's it for today, except for our giveaway. So today's giveaway is a pattern by Madame Chantilly, and it is called Iced Lemonade. I thought this was appropriate for spring and summer stitching. You could start now. And I think at one point in time, I was going to do like a lemonade stitching area in my kitchen and thought this would be cute. But that is not happening now. So I figured this would be a great giveaway for you guys. So if you would like to be entered in to win this pattern, please, you need to be 18 years old because I will need your mailing address to be able to mail this to you. Please, for this giveaway, if it could just be United States residents only, what you need to do is just leave me a comment below using the word lemonade. Lemonade. Like, subscribe to this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and just leave me a comment with the word lemonade, and we will use a random generator to pick a winner before my next video, which should be in 2 weeks. And I think that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions for me, follow-up questions from the retreat, or if you want to chat anything retreat, just drop me a comment. I enjoy the connections that I have been able to make through the comments and look forward to continuing to do that. So have a beautiful day, Flosstube. Have a beautiful weekend. It was wonderful to have some stitchy goodness time with you, and I will see you very soon. God bless. Bye-bye.